Hi, my name is Rene, and I'm welcoming you back to this channel. This is Tango Brillante DC, and here you're going to find a lot of information about tango, about the dancing of tango. In every class that I pre-record, I am trying to teach you how to navigate in this interesting world of tango by teaching you certain movements that are very technical, but at the same time very interesting, enjoyable, and simple. If this is your first time here, make sure that you like the lesson, make sure that you are comfortable with it. If not, you can go back a few other Saturdays back, a few other lessons back, and find what's best for you. There's a lot of content in our channel, and you're going to find something that is probably going to suit you the best. As usual, I want to thank everyone, especially for last week. Thanks God, I got the vaccine, so I was feeling very, very ill. I reacted in a very, very terrible way, and all your calls, all the messages, or the worries were very much welcome, because I was feeling not very well. But that's over, and we're strong, we're back, and I hope it happens for all of you, because we are finally starting to feel that this is the beginning of the end of this terrible crisis we have been going through. And of course, thank you for your support. Your support is so very important in these times of crisis. So today, 2 weeks ago, we had finished working with the forward ochos, which was very exciting to do. As you can review in the last lesson, I shared with you the way of combining these exercises is very, very simple. All you have to do is keep going. So during these coming weeks, I'm going to be working on what can we do out of back ochos. There's a variety of things because most of the time we're walking forward and the ladies are walking backward. So there's a huge universe of things that we can do. I'm going to try to collect 4 fun things to do, and we're going to start from there, okay? So today we're going to see how can we do a very nice switch of direction, change of direction, by starting doing right following a few back ochos. So as I usually do, I'm going to start with the instructions for the leaders, and then I'm going to continue with instructions for the ladies. In order to practice this, I also want you to, during the lessons, I usually play music, and I want you to know what the music is. So look in the link below. I shared also a playlist on Spotify for you to practice with this music. This part, the first part, is Osvaldo Fresedo, and slowly we're changing. We do Canaro, we do a few other musicians, which is interesting to notice in our heads, okay? To train our brain to recognize what song we're dancing, which is very, very important when you become a really good dancer. So I'm going to start by showing you, gentlemen, the movements that we're doing. The first thing I'm going to do in order to lead a back ocho, I'm going to lower myself and create a side step. Usually we go to the left in order to lead a back ocho, but you can also go to the right. However, I'm going to be a little bit traditional in this case, and I'm going to try to do the back ocho as we usually do on the left side. After I do this, I'm going to be talking about this side step a little bit later, but right after this, I'm going to raise my body, okay? I'm raising my center, and I'm inviting, look at my torso. My torso is moving, my feet and my hips are not. and then I'm taking the next step. That's a very basic lead of back ochos, right? But in this case, after the first ocho, side step, I lead the back ocho, the first one. I lead the second one, and then I'm going to hold up a little bit higher, like a little bit like pausing that movement. And then I'm going to walk with my left foot in a very long and extended step. Okay? Let's try to go over there one more time. So I take the side step, I lift my partner up, I pivot her, leading her into the first back ocho, another pivot. Second, I lift her up, and then I want you for now to look only to what I'm doing with my feet after this step. Long step. Okay, I'm going to do it on this side so you can feel how I am turning. Side step, back ocho, another back ocho. In this one, I'm walking forward. Okay, at the very end, what is happening at the very end, I'm walking with my left foot forward. I pivot. While she's walking with me, I pivot her and walk back, side and collect. I didn't want you to think of what your upper body is doing, because I first want you to understand what our feet are doing, okay? Later on, I'm going to talk about the lead because it's a very interesting lead. Right after the forward step, I'm going to go there, see? Side step, two back ochos. 1, 2. I lift her up. Now I walk, and I collect my feet, I pivot, I walk with my left first, one step, second step, side, and I can collect here. Eventually we're not going to collect there any longer, but just to close this step for now, we're going to do it that way. Let me show you how it looks on the other side. So, side step, I create the first back ocho, second back ocho. I walk long. One, two, side, and I keep going. And I can start all over again from here. 1, 2, it's a very, very simple exercise. There's nothing that is complicated. The one thing that probably is new to you is, especially for the ladies, we're going to pivot them while they are in a back step. So that's the exciting part about this. And for that, let me show you that with the sticks. So, the one on my left side is her right foot. The fancy shoe is the right foot all the time. The regular shoe is going to be her left leg. So, let me show you first from this side. I want you to look exactly what direction after the long step that I'm making, what is the direction that the sticks are taking, okay? So I'm going to take a side step, And here I go back ocho, first one, second one. Look, when I feel that her leg is about to take the second one, I'm going to not lead with my torso to the next back ocho, but like I said earlier, I'm going to pull her body up. So to hold this foot for a little bit, you can take all the time in the world to walk this step. I walk this step. See, I ask you to do a longer step, okay? The longer you make, the better connection you're going to have with her legs. Look what is going to happen now. I collect my feet and I am pivoting. And the moment I walk, she's walking with her right foot. 1, 2, side, and collect again. Okay? Let's try it from the other side. The same exercise. Side step, first back ocho, second back ocho. I make a long step and look at the shoes of the stick. They are not moving, but only at the end I'm going to make her walk 1, 2, side, and finish. What am I doing in order to allow her to stay on the ground and pivot while she is in this position? She is pivoting like this. I'm going to create a lot of trust there. Okay, so it's very important that your embrace is leading that part. Of course, I need you to understand what is happening on the ground with your feet. However, we all know that the lead is coming from your upper body. For that, I'm going to use the pillow and the sticks at the same time to show you how this all is happening. See, I could be in an open embrace probably, but like that. But what I'm trying to say is that this is not necessarily something that I have to do in a close embrace. I would like you to practice in an open embrace first, but then in the milonga, we only dance most of the time close embrace. We want to dance a close embrace. It's a lot more enjoyable than an open embrace. So I want you to pay attention to what my upper body is going to do. First, I'm going to just show you. I'm not going to say any words. Okay, what am I doing there? I'm going to explain without anything there, so you can just focus in my torso. Imagine that, do you remember twist? The twist used to be danced pivoting only on the ball of the foot, right? And switching your weight from one foot to the other. This movement is a little bit like that. We're making it fun. We're making it very enjoyable. And you know, this music is from the probably 30s, early 1930s, but still I can make it very, very enjoyable. Probably nobody danced these steps in the 1930s, but I am adapting that music to this, which is very, very nice. So let me show you. once again, I'm going to make a big emphasis in showing what my torso is doing. So in the first two ochos, no secret, I'm just navigating. But here, see, I ground her. And then if I lift my torso, she is immediately going to lift her foot off the ground. So I'm going to try to be very neutral here. And look, I'm always connected. I'm not going this way. Her body is kind of like here. So I am going with that. My legs are secondary. If I move my legs first, she's not going to stay. She needs to stay in this position. And then when she feels that bouncing step that I'm making between one foot and the other, she's going to understand that. Now, what I am doing, how I'm controlling that, because it's not just moving my torso, okay? There is a little bit of physics here, not very sophisticated. It's just like there has to be movement of weight. And then I'm going to spend some time making the pivot, and then I'm going to switch weight again. So what do I mean by that? I walk this long step, okay? Because I have impulse going towards her, in this case, her right foot. Her weight is going to navigate naturally there. In her head, she's thinking, okay, I'm going to be switching my weight to my right foot. But then, see, I'm going to create that impulse, but then I'm going to bring her to the other side. While I'm collecting my feet, she needs to feel this. Look at my hands. Go and come back. Go and come back. So my torso is creating that. My torso is taking her to her left foot while my feet are collecting. That this association of my lead and my movements is very, very important. And of course, it's very interesting because it's something that we don't do very often, okay? So, but it's not that difficult to learn how to do it. So I go, see, it's like don't look at my feet for now. I'm creating this bouncing step with my torso only. Remember this movement, okay? Look, I'm going to keep doing this bouncing movement, but my feet are going to be doing something else. Bam, bam, bam. In that 1, 2, 3, my feet have to be very active in going back. Immediately she's going to switch her weight back to her left foot. I need to pivot again and invite her to come with me in the last 2 steps forward for her. 1, 2, and then to finish in the side step. So if I try to do that again, first with the sticks only, I'm going to go explaining where the weight of my dance partner is. I'm going to do it from the very beginning, back ocho, and here we are. So I'm walking, my torso is inviting to go forward. But I switch my mind. If I go all the way up until her axis her axis is on her left leg, she's going to lift the right. I don't want to do that. I want to keep her feet on the ground. So, see, I can be here forever. That's the reason why I did that a little bit earlier in the exercise, because I wanted you to see. If I move my torso, the shoes of the sticks are going in that direction. If I move my torso to the other side, they're going to the other side. But here, in order to do this movement, I am not switching my weight completely, because most likely that she's going to lift this leg or any leg that I leave behind. I'm keeping her weight kind of like in the center all the time. And when I'm ready to go, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is extremely important for me to understand that, it's extremely important to lead. It's for me very important. It's extremely important for you to understand that when you are doing this, take your time. It's not something that I want you to do it right away with the syncopation. I can go beat by beat. This is a very, very paced kind of music. So I'm going to sing. Ba, 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 ba. It came to an end, but we're going to wait for the next song. Bam. Bum, 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 bum. I'm taking 2 beats in order to make sure that my dance, first, I am working it correctly. Let me show you on the other side. I don't want to give my back to the camera, so I'm going to do it in a little bit of a diagonal here. So I go. Whenever we do a movement that involves a pivot with both of our dance partner on the ground, my lead needs to be very, very clear, okay? Now, when we're doing it together with embrace, most of the time what we tend to do, if she's not understanding our lead, we tend to crush her against and try to force. Be extremely gentle. In your embrace, although it's very close, you have to allow her freedom. And if you feel that she needs more space, you have to not open the embrace, but let go of tension. Let her move inside that embrace. That is extremely, extremely important. So if I do this in a close embrace, I'm going to try to make sure that my dance partner is a little bit taller. Probably I'll be doing something like this. The music that we're listening to right now is probably not very, very fast. It's not extremely fast. It's not slow either. It feels normal, but I'm taking my time and I am not doing it immediately on the beat. At the end, don't forget, see, I'm switching my weight and immediately she's disconnecting. And then I go. All the time, my torso is leading that speed of the movement. I want you to understand that if you move slower, the exercise becomes more comprehensible. The way that you think the movement is so very well uh, um, recorded in your brain that you will never forget that. That's the technical part of dancing, that you're not just remembering how to do the footwork. You have to learn what's happening with the floor, on the floor, what is happening in the midsection of your body, and what is happening on top. So when you learn how to understand the movement becomes unforgettable. Now, I'm going to challenge you a little bit, gentlemen. When you do this, you can use 20 times the same step going back and forth. Don't forget that we're always trying to use the space in front of us and reuse it sometimes. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. Look, I do my first 2 back ochos. The space opens. I'm going to use that space. I make my dance partner enjoy that movement. Back. Immediately after this, I'm not going to do back ochos any longer. I know that she's going to follow me. I reuse that space. And I do it again. Because we are learning and we need to practice a lot this exercise, when we are practicing, I want you to do it 154 times. As many times as you can, because we need repetition, so the exercise that we have understood already intellectually, it sits in our muscle memory and stays there. So at first, I want you to understand the movement intellectually, and then I need you to practice that and let go in your muscle memory. That's the only way it is going to work, and that's the only way you're going to be able to remember this. Like you remember how to put the seat belt, how to check your mirrors when you're driving. We never think about that too much, but when we're learning, we need to take care of each detail, okay? In no time, you're going to be navigating without thinking too much about these things. Now, the reason why I'm asking you to practice, go back and forth, because then you're going to realize how interesting it is to have this fluidity of the movement. That is Carlos Di Sarli, extremely elegant, well distribution in between melody and beat. This is perfect to do this. A very slow version. Let's say that the milonga is extremely busy. See how much space I'm using. As you can tell, in In that last part, I used a forward ocho that we used a few weeks ago in order to change my direction and keep going that way, okay? So as you can tell, this is very easy. Try to practice. In the playlist that you have, like I mentioned before, there is a playlist in the bottom line. So download or subscribe to Spotify, listen, and try to practice with that, all that kind of music. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit faster, sometimes it's going to be slower. But the thing is that you could adapt, you can actually adapt your speed to the music, okay? Now let's see what the ladies have to do. For the ladies, this is an exercise that, as usual, requires you not to anticipate the movement. It's very simple, like I said to the leaders. It's extremely simple, but it requires a little bit. If you let go immediately with your impulse when you're dancing this, you're going to be moving your feet first. Don't forget, the lead happens here first. I mean, the leader is leading with his chest. The lead is coming to you, to your chest. So your chest is the first part of your body that you have to move, and then probably your leg is going to move. And at the end, your foot. If you follow that order, if you organize your movements in that way, you're going to be able to do a lot more with whatever the leader is leading. So the first thing I want you to understand is when you're taking the side step, I want you to look at my feet. I was talking about this last week. Whenever we do a side step, we can't go. See, if I move everything all together, I go like that. I have to go like I'm going under the floor, and then I emerge. Think of the floor like it's water. So you go down first and you emerge. See, that is making my body go a little bit low and then up again, okay? That is a very nice and fluid movement. You can never go like this. If I go as a block, I tend to wobble my whole axis as if I would not have any joints. So use the joints. Whenever I'm saying joints, all the joints in your body, and that includes your spine. When you move your spine, automatically your body moves like the shape of a fish. Think of that, okay? So that's a very cool movement. So, believe it or not, we can do this movement with that speed of music, but I'm going to show you first very, very slow. So when we're taking that side step, make sure that you go wide. There's nothing worse than dancing like this. To begin with, I always tell you not to bend your knees. So try to stay tall, try to elongate as much as you can, creating space right for your, in front of you, for your legs to move, to do. For that, you want to have your weight forward, elongated, like you're about to fly, okay? If I have that, the moment that the leader is planning to do this forward step, after the two back ochos, let me do the two back ochos so you have the organization as I explained to the leaders. So side step, nothing happens here, I go back ocho, another back ocho, and then here the leader is going to lift you up. And then, see, that lifting up your core means that this leg has to be lingering there. And then, when you're going to be invited to walk, look, I'm not going anywhere because he's not walking forward yet.
I walk only when I feel that he's pushing. Then he's going to be doing a rocking movement, a bouncing. That's the first thing that we practice with the gentleman, right? And then, see, my direction is going to go back, but he bounces me again to my right foot. And immediately when I am trying to switch weight to the right foot, he is going to change the direction. Now, provided that you have your weight in the ball of your feet, you're going to be able to follow this correctly. If you go take your back step like this, and your heels are down, it is going to be very, very difficult for you to feel that twist movement that we were talking at the very beginning of the lesson. I want you to feel very, when your heels are off the ground, you can move as if the floor is made of butter. There's a very easy way to move. If my heels are down, all this movement is going to go to my knees, and it's going to be like a lot of effort, okay? And we can't do that, especially you ladies that like the high heels. If you put your heel down, this is going to set you backwards and, you know, a very uncomfortable position. So if you keep your weight upwards and your body tilted a little bit forward, creating space right in front of you, this is going to be like very easy to follow. So let's go back to that part. Side step, back ocho, rebound, and I'm going to feel that the leader changes my direction. After this, the leader is going to lead me 2 forward steps. 1, 2, side, and finish. That's how easy it is. Let's do it from the other perspective. Side, back, back. I elongate this step. The leader bounces. Now, once again, I want to emphasize this little part. When you're walking forward, because, you know, in that part, when you switch your direction, you're going to be a little bit on the right side of the gentleman. What does that mean? That your legs are going to be completely exposed. Everybody that is sitting right there in front of you are going to see almost your whole body. And what happens if after that switch you walk like this? That's not going to look aesthetical. And I don't care how it looks. I want you to care for how it feels. So I want you to feel that your walk is nice, that you're walking in just one line, that you're walking, imagine that you don't have a space on the sides, you only have space in front of you. So I'm going to do it right in front of you so you can see what is happening. I go 1 back ocho, 2 back ochos. Look how I'm going to walk. If you walk, if you're not used to walking this way and you walk like this, like I said, it's going to disorganize first your embrace, because if you don't go like completely in front of your body, the leader is not going to recover from that, and his body is going to stay here because you are kind of leading the direction away from him, okay? And that is something that I want you to control as a follower. Your embrace has to be centered in front of the leader. You cannot be dancing like this. This is weird. And if I walk in two different lanes, this is exactly how I'm going to end up walking and end up embracing. So if I'm here, the legs of the leader are in front of mine, but I have to find space to avoid the legs of the leader on both sides. Okay? So for that, I want you to always think that your leg has to go respecting that space of the other. You never want to walk like you're walking by yourself. It takes two to tango. So respect the space of the leader. I know that sometimes you're going to kick the feet of the leader. It's not a big deal, but because, you know, we're wearing very hard shoes, it's not a big deal if something steps on me, but make sure that, you know, because it's like an ethical thing. You can do a lot. If you trip over the foot of the leader, you can like use makeup and do a little bit of an embellishment. So what I'm trying to say is, don't take for granted that the leader is not going to notice when you kick or you step on his foot. So one more time. I'm going to do it on the other side now, taking a diagonal line. Back ocho, I walk, now what happens if the leader would like to do more than one? Allow that to happen. Don't dance with your brain. Don't expect, okay, Renee said one and it's going to be one. The leaders are not using my brain to dance. They're going to be using their brain eventually. So try to go with that. So when you feel that there is more than one, you have to feel it in your torso. That's the reason why before I was asking you to feel first here in your torso, then you can do a lot of things with your legs and your feet. See how I first pivot, then move to the other side. And I'm not going feet and core together. I go with my core first. I'm leaving that foot elongated. Do you remember that a few weeks ago we were talking about how we have to use the ankle, the muscles in our ankles, to be able to finish a forward step? So that's exactly what is happening here. I finish, elongate my ankle, and I'm pivoting using my both feet. I cannot just do this. The pivot is 180 degrees, both feet. If you don't feel the lead completely going 180 degrees, it's okay. That's probably difficult for the leader to do that clear. But your feet, your hips, that's your technical part. You have to move them. No matter if you're receiving just a little bit of energy. Why? Because you at some point are going to do probably an embellishment. So pay attention to what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it very, very slow. Back ocho, back ocho. I'm going to use, most of us use our right side. The right, it's the strongest side. So I'm going to do it with the right leg. One pivot. 1, 2. Let's do that again. As soon as I feel that this is over and the leader wants me to walk, see, I'm stretching my ankle first, but before I go, I'm going to stretch and catch up here. So the movement here is a little bit slow, but I catch up going forward. I'm going to do it with the music now. If you see the pillow one more time, the pillow is flowing with the music. La, 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 la. Let's do it from this side. What happens if you kick and the leader stops and you're not going to be able to land on the beat? Let's do that from here. Just let me jump to the exercise in order to be quick. Okay, so I don't want you to think that there's only one way to do this. Use what you're feeling, use your senses, feel the lead. Some leaders lead completely clear with a lot of oomph. Other leaders are more soft, they are more subtle in their leads. So you don't want, if the lead is soft, you don't want to go boom, that bombastic. There's not only that exercise that you can do. You can probably, if the lead is, I can tap. Don't forget, we have learned in so many musicality lessons that we did with musicians in our milonga, in our virtual milonga, la pelotita, ta 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 ta, ta ta ta. Okay, I'm going with that pelotita. Sometimes I can do a kick, I can do, see, I switch the direction. See, I'm going to be walking backwards. I'm doing something, and that something, believe it or not, is coming from your ankle more than any part. What do I mean by that? When you kick, your ankle needs to be straight. When you tap la pelotita, that ankle needs to be straight. When you're moving in a circle, you have to move from the ankle. The only part that is moving is the ankle. I cannot move everything all together. It's going to look a lot different. Okay? And don't forget, I always emphasize this because it's so important for me. I feel it when I'm dancing. If the follower really connects with me, means not only that she has a very good embrace, but I feel like she's my accomplice, that she immediately is going to, like, if I switch the speed in which I'm dancing, she immediately catches that, and she's going to try to confabulate in order to do some interesting movement. Sometimes that means that she's going to be doing an embellishment. Sometimes it feels like she's going to go with my movement, and it's going to be something interesting. But in general, it means that it's not going to be boring, it's going to be exciting. That at the end, we're both going to have a smile in our faces, like we did it. It was fun. And that is the kind of participation that I want from you by asking you to do embellishments. You really have to be very connected with the leader in order to be able to embellish, to do your own thing, your own technical part, but in a very, I don't want to be, not all the followers are ladies, but to do it, if you're a lady, to do it in a very feminine way, to do it in a very strong feminine way. And once again, make fun out of it, because that's what we want when we're dancing. Sometimes it's very relaxing, but sometimes it's also very challenging, especially when we're dancing strange music that probably is the first time that we're going to dance. It can be, I don't know, Alfredo Gobi, or it can be the Rolling Stones. So, because we can dance tango to anything that there is possibly under the sun, okay? So, very important for the ladies not to forget about the ankles. And of course, the more that you move in that pivot, your spine, the joint, and you use the joints of your hips, that is not going to be a flat movement. If I dance like just very technical, this is going to be the outcome. As you can tell, it worked, but I feel like tense. I feel like stiff, like I'm doing some other kind of dance. Tango has to be fun, so I'm going to make it fun. If I feel that, so let's do that from the other side. Look how I'm moving my spine. It's kind of like I'm connected with the waves of sound that are inundating the room. Oops. Now, as you can tell in the last part that I showed, I can exit, the leader can exit on each side. It doesn't matter that he is switching just one time and you have to do the kick with the right leg. And attention leaders, I didn't mention that before, but you can exit either side. What do I mean by that? I'm the leader now. I'm going the big step. I switch the direction, see? There. Usually I would end up here, but what happens if I end to the other side? One, I'm walking with my right, and then I'm finished. I don't need to walk 2 steps because this is taking me directly to have the left leg free to make a side step. So it's optional, completely left to the leader to which side to exit. Now, for you ladies, that is exciting news because you can kick with your left leg or with your right leg. Notice that when I'm kicking, because your legs are not together, if you kick like this, you're breaking your axis a little bit. My axis is in the middle and traveling. So if I collect, I'm breaking the line of dance. So from there, without making too much noise in the movement, I'm not really sure if you can see how my axis is traveling. So my leg, I feel like my leg is going like a pendulum, bum, bum, bum. For that, it's very important that you understand that the part that is moving is your thigh. At the very end, I'm lifting my foot using my hamstrings. Here, I lift with my glutes and my lower back, but at the end, I pull with my hamstring. And boom, boom, boom. So when you're doing this exercise, this is not very nice, because that is making you go kind of like low. You have to keep your height. I'm not dipping. I'm taking the natural kind of like wave of the movement. So in order to practice, you can do this exercise by yourselves, which is also a lot of fun, don't you think? Well, one last recommendation for the ladies is, as I usually do, I know that when I do this, it looks a lot of fun, right? But you're not going to be able to do all these exercises, all these kicks the way I'm doing it. I am all by myself in a very large area. In the Milonga, we have to think very, very small space, limited space, and respect to the people that are around me. In this particular case, when you kick, you're using a little bit the space of that is behind you to do that kick. I mean, when I'm doing it that large. So I don't want you to think that just because you have learned to kick, that means that wherever you're going to go, you're going to kick. I want you to kick because I want you to be aware of all the wonderful connections that with that kick you're making with your axis, with your muscles, with your glutes, moving your spine and everything. You're moving, you're enjoying the movement, not just tango, but the whole movement and control of your body. Eventually, that kick that you're doing, that you're practicing today, it's going to lead to other movements that are also very interesting in tango. But when you go back to dance in a social dance, which is coming probably at the end of the summer or in the fall, we're going to be respectful of that space that is around us. You can still do certain kicks, but try to keep it like low. Don't try to be bombastic. Immediately, as a leader, if I see a lady that is doing all those things, I'm going to probably change the direction of where I'm going in order to protect my dance partner, because followers usually close their eyes. And can you imagine how uncomfortable it would be for you if you're dancing all concentrated and all of a sudden somebody kicks you, okay? So, once again, I like the embellishments. I like that you are able to learn these things, but you have to be very, very careful and very respectful of the other people, okay? All right, so this would be the lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you practice. And also, very important, I hope all of you listen to the music, because this collection of music is, you know, I put all together just a lot of different musicians, so you can have this differentiation. What is happening with Pugliese? What is happening with De Caro? What is happening with Canaro, etc., etc. So it's also very good for you to have that ability to recognize what style you're dancing, what time what milestone in the timeline of tango you're dancing at that precise moment. Okay, so don't forget, just for you to know, I posted a new episode for in our podcast. It's a very exciting story about one of my favorite tangos ever. The name is Pájaro Ciego, Blind Bird. And it's a very, very interesting story because, like it taught me back then that sometimes the lyrics don't make any sense. You remember the situation, you remember the atmosphere, you remember the smells, and that song links me to those memories without like linking me to the precise story that's behind, because the story is, I don't know, it's a little bit distant to my whatever I was living back then. But anyways, we can discuss about that, and in order to have this conversation and discuss about all these wonderful things about music, about the podcasts, about the authors, about the singers, please join us in our Glen Echo Virtual Milonga every Sunday at 7:30. The podcast, a new episode is premiered every Saturday at 6 p.m. But right after this lesson, we're going to be able to see each other, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay? So I will see you in a bit. Bye-bye.